This week, we're talking about Activision Blizzard for the last time. This is the Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
This is a song I wrote about the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. Good Game, Bad Game podcast.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Good Game, Bad Game podcast. I'm your host, Spencer, and with me is a man dying for Tony Hawk's Ride to be remastered. It's my co-host, Mike. Mike, how are you?
Are they talking about that?
No, I don't think so. Ride is the one that came with the actual skateboard
Yeah,
type thing.
yeah. I played that game a handful of times. I don't remember it working well.
Yeah, that was that was an interesting time.
It was a cool shot at something. I can appreciate that.
I wonder if it worked well with the Wii.
I don't know. Maybe. I played it on Xbox. And I guess for the time, that's the hard thing. It was 2008, 2009 that game came out? So to have an experience like that was kind of cool.
Yeah, oh, definitely. But it not working was not cool.
Yeah. I mean, by not working, I mean not working well. It was usable. It was playable.
Yeah, sure.
It was just one of those things where it's okay, this is cool, but I'd rather just be playing regular controller Tony Hawk.
Yeah. I hear you. Before we talk about all of the Activision Blizzard and Xbox stuff, why don't you tell me about your week with games, and please tell me you got to see Idris Elba.
I did not get to see Idris Elba, but I did start Phantom Liberty.
Nice.
I think I'm about an hour in. Frankly, I sat down last night and said, I need to play this before the podcast.
You're like, Spencer's gonna bother me about this. I'm not gonna let that I'm not gonna let that piece of shit win.
Yeah, it was actually kind of cool because I had Cyberpunk in Quick Resume on my Xbox while Phantom Liberty was loading. Not intentionally, it's just how it worked out. I almost never close. There's a short list of games that almost never close on my Xbox, and it's Cyberpunk, Madden, and Starfield. Even though I haven't touched Starfield in 3 weeks. But so I had to close it to get the mission to pop, or the initial phone call you get. And it seemed like there was some sort of graphical update, and this could just be in my head, but that I had missed and that had applied after I restarted the game, because it looked even better than it already did. But anyway, I did start playing it. I'm starting to get sucked back into the world, which happens pretty quickly every time I play it and just do missions, whatever. So I imagine I'll play some more this week. I will say I can pretty confidently confirm, we talked about this last week, crouch was not R3.
Okay.
Because I used to run and slide all the time, and now every time I try to do it, it goes into fucking photo mode.
Yeah, it's so clunky now with having to push both thumbsticks to. Yeah, no, it's definitely.
And you didn't have in the base game originally, you didn't have the Sandevistan actions, which is B or circle or B or whatever. Obviously, play on. That definitely was not there. So frankly, I think I want to see if I can go into controls and switch those, because I will use crouch and slide way more than I'll use that.
Yeah, makes sense.
But that's my only gripe with it so far. I'm enjoying it. I'm remembering how much fun the combat is.
Yeah.
In the game in general. So yeah, that's probably what's going to be mostly on my plate for the next couple of weeks. I wish I had a day I could just sit down and rip through it.
Yeah.
You said it was like 20 hours or something, right?
Yeah, probably all told. Like if you do like every like there's like new gigs that are specific to Dogtown and stuff like that. So like if you actually do everything, it probably takes like 20-25 hours.
Okay. Yeah, I surely will.
I would say the actual like just main missions themselves is probably like a good 10 to 15 though themselves. Wow. Like I would imagine. So yeah. I think I don't want to like I'm not like trying to spoil anything by saying this, but it does take like a minute to actually get to Idris Elba, because I remember I had like started playing it when it had first come out, and I like still hadn't gotten to him. And then I think it was like right after I had said that, like the next thing I did was meeting up with him. And I think that was like the moment, like once you're with him and it like really starts to kick off, like this, like the story and everything from that point is, I think that's my expectation for when you'll be like fully like sucked in and like, all right, let's do this. That's just my prediction.
And, I anything that involves Idris Elba and sucking.
All right.
I actually, this, speaking of which. This past weekend, we were out and about, so I downloaded some shows onto my iPad because I didn't have internet, and one of them was Hijack on Apple TV with Idris Elba. And God, that got me so that was probably the catalyst for me like sitting down and saying, I'm going to at least start Phantom Liberty this week, because God, I love that man so much.
Yeah. How is that show, by the way? I know this isn't the good show, bad show, but
I ripped through it. I already finished it in like 2 sessions of watching it.
Excellent. Yeah, it's on my short list for sure. Well, let's see. So this episode is going to be coming out the 19th. The episode for the 26th is a pre-record, so maybe what day would that be? The 2nd for that episode. Maybe you'll be a good chunk into Phantom Liberty. We might have the opportunity to talk about it a little more in depth. What do you think?
If I'm not done by then, I will be upset.
Book it. All right. Awesome. So November 2nd for that episode, we'll do a deep dive. We'll try and keep it as like spoiler free, I guess, because it's still fairly new. But we'll do a deep dive into our thoughts on Phantom Liberty.
Yeah.
And do you guys have plans to get Super Mario Wonder day of?
I've had it pre-ordered for like 4 months.
So yes.
Yes.
Nice. Maybe we'll be able to do a little like a nice little game tasting, if you will. We can talk about Super Mario Wonder, because Shelby and I will definitely have played at least some of it. I'll be able to talk about Spider-Man 2 a little bit, and then we can talk about Phantom Liberty. Look at that.
That'll do.
I think that sounds amazing.
Then I can talk about Starfield.
Well, we've already talked about Starfield and Baldur's Gate.
Well, then I can talk about Forza Motorsport.
Yeah, okay. Nice. Yeah. This is great. Oh man, I'm now extremely excited for November 2nd.
I can at least like play a little bit of Forza Motorsport. I don't want to get too far into it. I still need to beat Forza Horizon. But I can at least like play it, get some initial thoughts, and then
No, definitely.
Come back to it later.
Awesome. Wow.
I might need to have Justine on that episode though, because she will be mostly playing that.
Forza Motorsport?
Yeah.
Cool. Yeah. No,
Yeah,
I
and then
think that
I'll
sounds
take
good.
over. I'll take over Mario, and it'll be good.
Yeah, because you're the Mario man.
All
All right. Any other games played this week?
Ooh, a wee bit of Madden.
Oh,
Ooh,
ooh, wee bit of Madden, eh?
and I did not want to, as I never do.
Let
But
him be
it's just
clear.
it is the easiest game to just say, like, it'll be like, it's usually like 8 p.m.
Yep.
And it's like, I want to do something other than what I've done for the past 18 hours.
Yeah.
And it's just the easiest game to go into and say, okay, I can play one game and be good and then go to bed. Like, I need to get fully invested to play games, and that's why
Mhm.
like I haven't really started Phantom Liberty until recently. Because I can't just like play little snippets. It's either everything or nothing.
I completely get that. And I've honestly had a couple of relapses myself, and I've played MLB for like an hour or two some nights because, yeah, basically been in the same boat where it's like I just have an hour or two to kill, and like it's just there, you know? It's just always there for me. So, um, I definitely feel that. Um, to provide you with an update so you know where your investment stands.
Mm-hmm.
Give me 1 second. I am up to 55 platinums. And to update on a few that I don't think I talked about. Goosebumps, the game. That was a little like
Interesting.
point and click. Do you remember those like did you ever play the computer games that were like Pajama Sam or whatever the little like car was? I forgot his name. Or like Freddy Fish. Do you remember those games? Did you ever play those?
No,
No, because you were
but
cool, right?
we had Windows. I didn't grow up in a Linux family.
Taking pot shots at my dad. Nice. Anyway, it's like one of those types of games. I don't know, like I can't think of another game to try and like equate it to. But anyway, it was leaving. It took me like 2 hours. Yeah, job done. The Medium. I don't even know if I had talked about the fact that I had like even started playing that, but I played through it, and you had played that when it like first came out and was on Game Pass, correct?
Yeah.
Um, and I can't remember overall what your like thoughts were, but that game is tough. Not in like the it's hard, it's like difficult. It's tough. Like it's just not like super clean.
Yeah. Did you get through that?
Yeah, I got through it.
Wow, you're not really a horror game kind of person.
It wasn't that scary. There was one jump scare that I was like, "Fuck you," like you know, like one of those where it's just like that was unnecessary and not needed. I did get sweaty. I don't know how far you got into it, but there's like that shadow figure that you have to like hide from.
Yes.
I got really sweaty at those moments, and you can like see him the entire time, so it's not even like that scary. But I definitely got nervous because it was like if he captures me, he's gonna like snap me in half or something, or it's gonna like do the thing where like a ghost pops up on the screen and like screams at you.
You know what's so funny is that like you're completely correct. Like and that is probably from what I remember, like the worst part of that game is the anticipation of getting caught by that thing.
Mm-hmm.
But just the way the whole game is framed kind of has you on the edge of your seat the whole time.
Mm-hmm.
And you compare that to The Last of Us, for example, where arguably a scarier game with the stuff that actually happens,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not framed like, I don't know, the walls aren't made out of body parts.
Yeah.
For the most part.
No, you're 100%
so
right.
It's way less intimidating.
Yeah, for sure. Also, I should clarify that I wasn't like playing with like headphones or anything like that. So,
Oh, no.
you know,
Yeah,
I wasn't listening to like anything like that. So,
that
obviously that's
doesn't do
more
it for me.
immersive, but it doesn't.
No, like if you play the Hellblade games, they tell you to like play with headphones on.
Mm-hmm.
And that's because like a part of the mechanic of the game is like schizophrenia.
Mm-hmm.
And so you're supposed to kind of be immersed in that. I just no.
Yeah.
I'm playing a game. I'm sorry.
I already have voices whispering to me in my head. I don't need them to come from the outside in either.
Yeah, you know it's bad when you're playing a game where it's simulated schizophrenia and the voices in your head are yelling back at the voices in the headphones.
Oh man. Yeah, I don't often play like if anything, like I feel like the games that I'll play with like headphones are like MLB The Show, so I can really hear like the crisp, clean crack of the bat. You know?
Oh yeah,
Like stuff like that, right? With like, because I do really like the Sony headphones, even though they like are pieces of shit in the sense that they like fall apart. Although the new ones are actually good because they don't have like all of that like nasty like I don't even know what to call it, but I'm also the same way where like I know so many people are like I have to have my headphones on playing games, and like I'm definitely not that in that boat.
Yeah, I frankly prefer like my setup. I have a sound bar and a subwoofer, and they're not expensive. They're cheap Vizio things, but they get the job done.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of like that because it gives you like the movie theater kind of like shaking the floor, and you're not blowing your ears out.
Yeah.
But sometimes, you know, I'll play like Cyberpunk or something with headphones on.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I just listen through my TV, or I have it on mute. So that's how that's how I play. But yeah, the medium was it was fine. You know, like it's one of those games where it's like I wouldn't tell somebody not to play it. But if somebody was like, I've got all these games, I'd be like, okay, well, you probably don't need to play the medium. You know, worry about the other stuff first.
That's kind of where I got with it. Was I started it and I just said I'm not enjoying this enough to take time away from other games.
Mm-hmm.
And I think Forza Horizon had come out at like the same time, and Flight Sim. So I think that's kind of why I gave up on it.
Yeah, you just had other things to fill your time with. Completely understand. Let's see. And then I got the platinum in both the PS5 and PS4 version of Unpacking, which is a game where you unpack boxes throughout somebody's life. Very, very zen, very chill. Really enjoyed taking the time to just relax and unpack some boxes. Thoroughly enjoyed it. And 2 very easy platinums. So, and then last but not least, I got Sea of Stars.
Nice.
And Moving Out, I finally just finished up getting hit by cars. So, yeah, so the grand total sits at 55, 14 to go, to get to the coveted 69. Yeah. And then I've been playing a lot of Baldur's Gate. Now that I can turn my full attention to it for the next 2 days until Spider-Man's out.
I can't wait for Spider-Man. I don't even have a PS5.
Yeah, was the thing that like that really like tipped you over the edge, the like whole fast travel?
Yeah, of like I don't know what Spider-Man was in which place, but like one of them was above Times Square, and then the other one I think was in Brooklyn, and they just showed like a quick fast travel, switching back and forth.
Well, I think so the thing that I saw was like they just like went into the map and chose a location, and then like they were at that location, like swinging in, because like
Yeah, I've
all
seen that
areas,
too.
all areas have like a rough anchor point, which is insane. That's like, it's so nuts. So that it's like effectively like seamless, like instant fast travel. I can't believe it. It's nuts.
Yeah, I mean, and it just looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Even I don't know if you saw, I think Gene Park posted it, but there was like a 14 FPS mode.
Oh, really? No, I didn't see that.
And I think it's actually for, like, it's an accessibility mode. I don't know exactly for what disability it's supposed to be for,
Mm-hmm.
but it's kind of cool because it looks like, I don't know how to explain it. Like the environment looks exactly like how it does elsewhere, but then like if you're swinging as Spider-Man, it looks very like jarring and boxy, like the movement, like it's a PS1 game.
Okay.
And it's just kind of like a retro feeling.
Yeah.
And that was kind of cool. But yeah, it's my understanding it's just for accessibility to some degree.
Interesting. Yeah, Insomniac is it's been well covered at this point, but they've released I think 4 games in 4 years or something like that at this point. And it's just nuts. Like it's nuts how they're able to like pump these out, and um I think they're doing it with a lot of people still working remotely. So, it kind of trumps the whole like, oh, you have to work in an office to be able to like, anybody who's like put out, an absolute stinker of a game like Gollum or something, who's like, oh, it's because everybody wasn't in the same location or something like that, right? Like it kind of pushes that narrative out the door a bit. But yeah, it's just absolutely insane. And yeah, ultimately, I really cannot wait to play this game. And the annoying thing is, like it's coming out on Friday. I should have like all of Friday to be able to play it, but then I should have most of Saturday. But then Saturday we're going to a soccer game. Because Messi, if you know who that is, he's going to be in Charlotte. So, kind of was like one of those things where it's like, I hope he plays, because I'm missing out on Spider-Man. And then Sunday, I also have
You
most
should
of
bring your portal and play there.
yeah, if only it was out.
Or it could be used in that manner.
Yeah. Well, I could like connect it to my phone hotspot
True.
maybe.
True. Might work.
And then Sunday I have most of Sunday as well, but we're flying because I have to be in office, basically all of next week, which means I'm not going to be able to play. And then Shelby's family's visiting, and so, I'm go ahead.
Go ahead. No. I'm interrupting you.
No, I just I'm really not going to be able to. Like I'm gonna play it for like 2, almost 3 days, and get to put like a ton of time into it, and then I'm not gonna be able to touch it for like a week, basically. It's like that's gonna kill me.
You should bring your PS5 to work and set it up and be like, you see this? This game was made by nobody coming into the office. So why am I here?
Oh man, that'd be great.
How can we reflect on like, and this is going to sound so stupid because it's like, what has Insomniac done pretty much their entire career? But we reflect on how smart it was for Sony to finally pull the trigger at the end of the PS4 era to say, you know what, you're ours.
Yeah, and did they do that before Spider-Man?
I think it was. I think it was technically after.
That's crazy. That is crazy.
I think like it was established that Spider-Man was going to be a PlayStation exclusive.
Yeah.
And then it did so well, and then Sony was like, yeah, this is gonna work.
You're ours. Yeah, I mean they obviously had like the entire Ratchet and Clank catalog that were all PlayStation exclusives. But
I mean, other than a couple one-off games, it was basically just Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, it's kind of funny that it took all of that work and a Spider-Man game for Sony to
I don't
finally
know.
be like, maybe these people are pretty good. And they got them out of steel probably for, like, you consider the absolute, like, mint games that they do.
Right.
And in comparison to the fact of, like, you look at, like, what Microsoft paid for Bethesda, which granted they have more IPs and stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know. Like, when you, like, think about it with those types of numbers and stuff, it's pretty crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know that it was necessarily like Insomniac never proved themselves. I think it was just always Insomniac enjoyed developing for PlayStation,
Mm-hmm.
and they always had apparently the funding to make good games that Sony could sell as exclusives. So, in terms of why would Sony throw the money out there for a studio that has shown a
Mm-hmm.
decent amount of loyalty? Um, then you also, I mean, Insomniac had a pretty big gap in major developments, basically after Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah, when did Sunset Overdrive release?
Was it Xbox One launch?
Okay, and then I know
I
there
think
was
it,
there was a PS4 Ratchet and Clank. So I mean,
yeah,
they basically went the entire life of the next gen consoles before releasing it. I guess Spider-Man was in 2018.
yeah, yeah. Sunset Overdrive we're coming up on the 9-year anniversary.
Crazy, absolutely crazy.
Does that make sense? Yeah, because I guess I was just saying how GTA has just had its 10-year anniversary, which I never want those words to come out of my mouth.
Oh,
Oh, heck. My shoulder actually popped when I did that.
oh,
Anyway.
3 consoles.
Yeah. Soon to be 4.
Oh fuck.
Um, yeah, 2014.
Yeah, so they went like, yeah, about 4 years probably, because I want to say the Ratchet and Clank game probably came out around. I thought it was around the launch of. I can't remember if it was just like it was like a remaster or a remake of like the actual first Ratchet and Clank, if I remember correctly. I don't know. Regardless.
Yeah, I don't know. I know it was just called a Ratchet and Clank, and they kind of launched it in unison with the Ratchet and Clank movie.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. One of those games I bought, never played.
Yeah, I really want to play all of the Ratchet and Clank games. I had one for the PS3. And I remembered really liking it, but I was also, that was when Call of Duty Spencer existed, so like I just never played any games.
Right. Yeah, that's unfortunate. The time when we had the most time to play video games, and
I don't want to.
just wasted on Call of Duty.
I don't want to think about it. Call of Duty or sports games, and it's like I still have sports games, but like Jesus.
Right. Yeah, I think I have the original Ratchet and Clank for PS2 somewhere.
Oh, I know I do.
Yeah, without a doubt.
I have a whole stupid shelf with all my stupid games. Yeah, crazy. And then we know Wolverine's like in the pipeline. It's just nuts. Just nuts what they're doing.
I keep forgetting about that.
Yeah, and watch that'll release next year, 2025. So I think I'd like to issue a correction. I think it's like 4 games in 5 years or something like that. But they'll be looking at 5 games in 6 or 7 years total, which is just, again, it's just, that's an insane cycle to just be pumping.
Yeah, I mean, Insomniac kind of became the lead horse of the PS5 era, which is awesome.
Yeah, they're clearly now PlayStation's like best in-house studio.
Right.
Crazy.
Yeah.
Absolutely crazy.
Let's get to that point. I think Spider-Man 2 is going to be the catalyst for me.
Yeah, Best Buy has a drop, I think, at 11 a.m. if you want to get the Spider-Man PS5.
Oh, does it come with the game?
I believe it comes with the game and the Spider-Man controller.
Do I need to have one of those Best Buy accounts?
That I don't know.
Yeah, you better apologize to my wife on air right now.
Justine, I'm sorry. How was that? Did I have to mean it? All right, let's talk about a different acquisition, a different future of gaming. Activision Blizzard has officially been bought by Xbox, and I think it would be fun to remember all the times we had talking about this stupid acquisition. It took up a year and a half of our lives, but also to kind of like talk about what we sort of expect now that this is finally true. I mean, I know we've kind of dreamed a little of what might happen and like all the possibilities, but there's been some statements and stuff like that, and I think it'd just be kind of fun to finally put a nail in the coffin of talking about these things until inevitably something else comes up about exclusive skins for Call of Duty for Xbox.
Yeah, it would be funny, Phil Spencer has talked about. I'm sorry, there's a helicopter going over me, so I'm a little bit distracted.
Is it sending off another Amber Alert?
It's about to. Oh, the jokes that could be made right now.
Anyway. How about them?
Anyway, so you made a statement about Call of Duty having skins and such.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Cool. Sorry, I dropped the ball on this one between the helicopter and trying to figure out how to get a Spider-Man PS5. Now I'm downloading the Best Buy
app. No, so Phil Spencer did have like some statements now that this like finally happened, and he said, very clearly in roughly these words that basically PlayStation, all versions of Call of Duty will have parity with the Xbox version. Xbox isn't going to get exclusive content or betas or anything like that. And I think the funny thing about those words is that he does specify Call of Duty because, again, that's all anybody has cared about, much to my distaste. But it would be really funny if like they remake Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4, but you can only play as Tony Hawk on the Xbox or something like that. Like oh my god. Like they still they announced that they're remaking them, and everybody's like, great, they're gonna be Xbox exclusives, and they're gonna be Pro Skater 3 and 4 are gonna be everywhere. Anywhere where you play games, you can play Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 3 and 4. And everybody's like, yay! It's just like, but you can only play as Tony Hawk on Xbox if you have Game Pass. That'd be so funny. And I also thought the one statement was like kind of funny, and I almost rolled my eyes because he said that like in no way are they going to use Call of Duty to try and convince you to buy an Xbox. And that's basically what he's getting at with like, there's not going to be exclusive content for it. So there's not like any reason to like necessarily play it on Xbox over PlayStation. But it's my understanding that the games are going to, starting in 2024, like new games will be put onto Game Pass. And so I think, I guess Call of Duty technically isn't the selling point, but Game Pass may be to convince you to buy an Xbox console. And I just thought that like statement was also just kind of funny because it was just like, well, I think it will. Like, I think it will help it. But sure, you're not going to explicitly use Call of Duty to convince people to buy an Xbox. All of that said, they should, like, why not? But yeah.
No, because I'm sure that all of these governing boards they've been fighting with for the past 2 years would then throw a fit and sue them. Find even more taxes that they didn't pay. Because they're just a bunch of fucking hitmen. There's going to be a clear advantage to like being in the Xbox ecosystem in terms of Call of Duty.
Mm-hmm.
They're going to be coming to Game Pass, like you said, both new and the old games, which might drop some of the stigma for like Call of Duty's being released every year. Because if you have Game Pass, then like, what do you care?
Right.
Other than, if they took an extra year, maybe the quality would be better. But I frankly don't hear people complaining about the quality of Call of Duty after like the first release, like after release month.
Yeah.
People kind of get off their high horse and dribble.
Yeah. They shut up and dribble. Yeah. Good point.
So, I think that's a huge advantage to being on Game Pass or in the Xbox ecosystem. And I'd be curious to see, there's been talk about them kind of adding more support to the Modern Warfare 2 servers.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think that's something that wouldn't be unreasonable for Xbox to do, to say that like, hey, the Modern Warfare, and I mean like the original like PS3, Xbox 360 era, Modern Warfare 2. Like, hey, if you have an Xbox, you can play Modern Warfare 2 online again. And they've got anti-cheat and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I think that'd be a good advantage for Microsoft to take advantage of.
Yeah, almost like running like I don't know, maybe finding ways to incentivize people to like go back into some of those older ones by doing like, I don't know, special event weekends where it's like, oh, if you play the original Modern Warfare 2 for at least an hour, like you get like so many Microsoft points that you can then like put towards renewing Game Pass or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like they can try and find a way to like push people back to that, which is obviously like, I don't know, in the current state of nostalgia that I think a lot of people have for older games and stuff. They definitely have some really cool opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the biggest one that's been floated around here of late, suddenly, and I can't remember if it was Bobby Kotick who like initiated it or just like happened to be talking about it or was like, I fucking hated the idea that it was brought to me and now it's like out there and like people are kind of like hitching to the wagon. I've been hearing a lot about Guitar Hero potentially making a comeback. And I gotta tell you, I have been itching to play freaking Guitar Hero lately. Don't know why. Couldn't tell you why, but
it's got to be something in the air because yesterday I literally watched the YouTube video from 15 years ago of the kid breaking the Guinness World Record for like most points in Guitar Hero.
That's
playing
so funny.
Through the Fire and Flames.
Oh my god, that's so funny. What are the odds?
I would buy it. I think Justine would force me to buy it. She loved Guitar Hero.
I it's gotten to the point, dude, where like I am on like the hunt to get a freaking like guitar again, like to be able to use, because I don't think I have. Actually, I should probably ask my parents to see if they happen to still have any of that. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Might go all out, get 2 guitars, get a drum, get a microphone, and maybe
Get the
start a
band
little,
back together.
yeah, maybe start, get the band back together. Exactly. Yeah, no, both Shelby and I have been like talking about how much fun it would be to like play like Rock Band or Guitar Hero. And so yeah, I saw that circling, and I was like, oh my god, if the worst case scenario of this acquisition is that all we get is a new Guitar Hero and it's $70, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, you won't. That would have to be an Xbox exclusive. I mean, come on. You want people to buy hardware.
yeah.
That's they do it.
Oh man, that'd be so sick though. Like, I would definitely be happy about that. I guess like, yeah, what else do you like see as a possibility? I mean, I know I joked about like Tony Hawk's Ride, but in a more serious note, Pro Skater 3 and 4, we just got a remakes of the first two. I mean, I don't think it's like a stretch to imagine that we could maybe see some remakes of like some of the Tony Hawk games.
Yeah, I mean, and 1 and 2, the remakes of 1 and 2 did really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that would be a pretty big no-brainer. They're going to do something with Crash and Spyro.
Yeah.
Once this news came out, literally the first live event with Microsoft, they had, I forget, it was a Crash, whatever the Crash fighting game was.
Crash Team Rumble.
Was that what it was?
Think, unless that's the old game.
Oh wait, no, it was like the battle. Well, there was Crash Bash, right? That was the old game.
Yes, Crash Bash was the old game. Yeah, I think it's Crash Team Rumble or Crash.
Yeah,
Rumble.
and I think that was like the battle royale kind of game, for like a Splatoon-ish kind of deal.
Maybe.
But yeah, I mean, they'll probably bring back like or not bring back, because I know they already remastered them, but I think they'll bring like a true to the franchise new game from Crash and Spyro.
Well, we did get Crash 4 after the Insane Trilogy did well, but we haven't gotten a new Spyro, so I definitely could see, but I could see another new Crash even, for sure. I think those are pretty beloved franchises that, if done right, people would get pretty hyped about new games in both of those.
It just feels like after Activision bought the rights to Crash and Spyro, that they just tried to. Sorry, I figured a moment of silence was better than the fucking truck that was driving by my house.
I was gonna ask, is it another helicopter?
No, I wish it were. What was I saying? It just felt to me like after Activision bought the rights to Crash and Spyro, that it just kind of, there just didn't feel like there was any care in the game. It's just they were producing it and making games for the sake of making games. That, for me personally, left a bad taste in my mouth. But
no, definitely. I think a lot of people share that sentiment. My question is something that I think has definitely been floated out there, but are we at the point finally where Microsoft can make their own, PlayStation All-Stars Battle Royale type game? And I think the answer is yes.
You would think.
Right? Like, you got Crash, you got Spyro, you've got Tony Hawk with his skateboard, you've got Master Chief, obviously. You got Gears of War guy. I don't know his name.
Marcus.
Sure. You could could have totally just made up a name there, and I would have gone yes.
I might have.
Wow, I was doing good. Dovahkiin, you can have like the Dragonborn from Skyrim. You can have somebody in a Fallout.
You could have the
mech suit. I forget what that's called.
You could have the car from Forza.
Yep. Yeah. that one specific car. I feel like that would be pretty sick.
Yeah. My big question with that is always like, would that actually do well? But what was that game that just came out a couple of years ago? I think it was like a live service game that had all sorts. I think maybe Warner Brothers made it.
Yep. Multiverses. It had DC
that ended up doing
characters.
Pretty good, I think, right?
Yeah, and then it, like, as all live service games, fizzled out, and then they suddenly said that this wasn't the full release. We're pulling it back, and in 6 months it'll be the full release or something like that. It was very interesting.
Has it been 6 months?
I don't know, but they went so hard at the beginning, and it was doing so well, and then it just kind of like naturally petered out. I think the cool thing about, if I remember correctly, with PlayStation All Stars was that there was like a story campaign type mode outside of just the like fighting.
Yeah, and there was one for
every character. Yeah,
I platinumed that game.
Yes, you did. You cheeky little bastard.
That was one of the tougher ones, mostly because it was hard to get matches by the time I decided to do it.
Yeah.
But I mean, that was definitely cool. Like I remember platinum that game, and it wasn't just kind of going through the paces with each character. Like it was actually kind of fun to start from the beginning. Which is like more than I think you can say for most of those kinds of games. Like Smash Brothers, great game. I think will always kind of be the top of the pyramid there. But that's something that PlayStation All Stars did really well to be different, is have that story in single player mode.
Yeah, I think Mortal Kombat used to do that for a bit. I don't know if they still do, but didn't they? Mortal Kombat used to have that?
Yeah, and they still do.
Okay.
That's also very good.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I've always heard really good things about Mortal Kombat's like general story and stuff. I don't know. It's all people ripping each other in half to me. So. But yeah, I think like kind of doing something cheeky like that would be kind of cool. But you're right. Like you have to wonder and ask, would it be actually worth it? Would there be enough hype around it? And ultimately, maybe not. So I don't know. But
it's something I'd maybe like to see in the next console generation, so Microsoft can have some time with these IPs and actually kind of integrate them, so it's not just like, hey, we now have soap in this game.
We now
Call of Duty.
So, okay. Is he the guy from the meme?
I don't know. I don't think so.
He's got like skull paint, and he's just looking at you.
This is from the original Modern Warfare 2, dude. I don't remember the characters. I just know the names.
The original Modern Warfare 2 or Modern Warfare 2 Remastered or Modern Warfare 2?
It just said the original Modern Warfare 2.
Yeah, so which one?
No, it was the guy with the mohawk.
Gotcha. Soap on a rope.
Ghost is the one, yeah, from that mission.
Good times. Good times. Oh, Ghost. He's probably from, let me guess, Call of Duty Ghosts.
Anyway, see you next week.
Do you foresee a change in like mindset around the development cycle for Call of Duty? Like, do you see that as something that's potentially on the table? Or do you think they're just always going to do this yearly release nonsense?
I think they'll keep doing yearly release. They've got the dedicated teams. I mean, what else are they going to do? Unless they're going to furlough a bunch of teams and close some studios, they might as well.
Yeah. That makes sense. Do you think trying to think, like, you've got obviously World of Warcraft is mixed up in this, Diablo. I guess World of Warcraft is the main one for this question. Do you foresee like some sort of benefit for like Game Pass that you like automatically have a subscription to WoW included? That would be Ultimate, right? Because Ultimate's PC.
Well, there's Game Pass, there's Game Pass for PC, and then there's Ultimate, which gives you everything.
I would imagine it would be lumped into Ultimate.
That's what they seem to be doing for some of these perks.
Yeah.
Like it really seems like they've moved that like base Game Pass just gets you access to the games.
Right.
Ultimate gets you access to all the games, cloud streaming, and then like there's perks. Like you can get like 3 months of Discord every now and then.
EA is only included in Ultimate, right?
I believe so.
Yeah.
So yeah, I could see it being an Ultimate, but not in the base.
Right. Makes sense. There's just a lot of like opportunities now. They're bringing in a lot of different IPs and games and stuff like that. Ultimately, it's just going to be really interesting to see how they kind of manage it all, and how they really capitalize and benefit from each of them, because there's a lot to work with that I think with like actual TLC, and not dickhead Kotick running the show or being the fucking face of the show. Like, I think there's a lot of potential with Activision Blizzard.
Yeah, and I think having some leadership from the Microsoft team will help as well. It's always Microsoft's philosophy in any acquisition that they have as much to learn from the acquired companies as they have to give to who they're acquiring.
I can see it now. The headline from Jason Schreier. Microsoft described as having a frat boy work environment.
And then just a picture of Satya Nadella's face. Because he really gives off that kind of vibe.
I kid. No, yeah, definitely. And I think, again, we've seen how the whole Bethesda thing's gone. I think the thing that I'm not ready for, in the sense of like, I don't want to fucking hear it, is that if Activision Blizzard releases a game now after the acquisition, and it's not perfect, or there's like literally any minor problem, it's just going to be because Xbox bought up the team and the games and all that. And I just like, I'm ready for it in the sense of like, I know it's going to fucking happen. I'm not ready for it in the sense of like, I just don't want to hear it. But that's the world we live in.
Yeah. And that was kind of the deal with Redfall too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that all started before Microsoft, and of course, I guess there's something to be said in that, like, a lot of people at Arcane wanted to just scrap it, and Microsoft's like, no, just see it through. I know that was kind of taken negatively, but it's my understanding that Redfall's actually pretty good now.
Yeah.
I haven't played it since launch, but there was a sizable update apparently made it good, but that's beside the point. Yeah. I mean, that's going to be the narrative. You can put money on it.
Yep. Ultimately, though, I'm very happy that this is done, and again, we get to kind of see what happens moving forward. I stand by.
We get to see nothing change.
Hopefully not. Right? Like I said, I see potential in a lot of the catalog, the library of Activision Blizzard. I think it's like a shame that all anybody ever considers is Call of Duty. So
yeah.
Ultimately, we'll see what happens. Obviously, Call of Duty is going to remain the focal point. But yeah. Do you have any bold predictions? Bold prediction for something that will happen because of the opportunities afforded by this acquisition?
First person Pitfall. Also known as Indiana Jones ?
Okay.
What if this whole time Microsoft was teasing Indiana Jones That was supposed to be a Bethesda IP, right?
It is, yeah.
What if this whole time they were teasing it as a Bethesda IP because they had Bethesda, but they were just waiting to buy Activision so they could transfer the IP to Activision and they could make it, and it would be Indiana Jones, but really just first-person Pitfall. Or third person. That'd be fine too. I'd prefer that. That's my stupid decision, or prediction and decision.
I don't even fucking know what Pitfall is.
What? It was like the game that made Activision. It's literally, I forget, it came out sometime in the 80s, I imagine. Old arcade game.
Oh, yeah, that game.
Are you being serious, or?
No, I'm saying that very facetiously.
Okay. But it was basically like Indiana Jones, the arcade game.
Pitfall game. I'm Googling it. Oh, Pitfall! Exclamation point. Ah, Pitfall! I mean, it is, yeah. And there it is. Big letters, Activision. That little icon or whatever has not changed, huh?
No.
Let's see. Oh, there's Pitfall 3D for the PlayStation. Pitfall the Mayan something or other for something. Super Pitfall. I'm just going to go out on a stretch and say that's for the Super Nintendo. Very interesting stuff. Very interesting stuff. Okay, cool. New Pitfall game. Last one was 1998. It's a pretty bold prediction. I like it. My bold prediction is they're gonna bring back the Skylanders stuff after the
It was like the herpes of the video game world for a while.
I loved the disdain in that ugh. Oh my god. That could not have gone any better. Yeah, I think they're gonna see how amiibos are extremely beloved by, the Disney adults of Nintendo fans, and they're gonna go all in on bringing back Skylanders.
So you're super into the physical media. You got Skylanders, you got Guitar Hero,
yeah, Guitar Hero, Tony Hawk's Ride,
2009 Reincarnate.
I mean, I've got my hair grown out like everybody did in 2009. Like I finally hit that point.
Yeah.
Dude, it's so funny because like this is mildly why I used it as my bold prediction, but Shelby and I were at like a retro game store, and there was an entire like decent sized shelf that had like it was like 4 shelves tall, and it was just all Skylander things.
Oh my god.
And Shelby was like looking at it for a second because our friend Brock, he was for a moment collecting the Animal Crossing amiibos.
Okay.
And so she was looking at it for a second like, oh, maybe they have like one of the like specific Animal Crossing amiibos that we could get for Brock. And I was like, oh no, Shelby, those are Skylanders. Like, that is a totally different, worse, terrible thing.
Oh my god. I remember that coming out.
And
you had to buy like the platform for them.
I know. It would be so stupid. I really hope it happens. Oh man. Good stuff.
It's so funny.
Just your
I'm gonna have to think about Skylanders all day now.
Oh man. All right. Anything else on Activision Blizzard and their new benevolent leaders at Microsoft?
No, I'm excited to see Bobby Kotick leave. I think they said end of December.
Thank God.
I'm curious as to who's going to come in. I kind of think it's going to be Mike Ybarra.
Yeah, that's kind of the rumor I've seen floated. Because he's currently in Activision Blizzard and former Xbox.
Yeah, he's the head of Blizzard, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, was with Xbox. Man, until maybe five. Oh no, it was the year of PlayStation. It was so since 2018, I think he's been with Blizzard.
I don't know. I'm really trying to figure out what the thought process there was, because you quickly said PlayStation, and I'm trying to see what the through line is.
I meant to say Spider-Man.
Oh, okay.
I remember reading the article. This is just how my brain works. I was reading the article that he left, or actually it was a tweet, and he left Xbox to go to Blizzard while I was playing Spider-Man. Weird memory I have in my life.
I love it. You have a beautiful mind.
It's something. I don't know if I'd call it beautiful, but maybe something that starts with an A. I don't know.
I used my words very specifically. So, well, cool. Yeah, I'm excited to see where things go. Hoping for all the best, and hoping for a new Guitar Hero.
Yeah, and Activision should just sell one platform that is a Guitar Hero guitar, and also the Tony Hawk Ride skateboard, and also the platform for the amiibos.
There you go. The Skylanders.
Yeah, whatever. I said what I said.
All right. Well, that does it for this episode. Let us know your thoughts. Let us know what you think. If you have any bold predictions of what Xbox is going to be able to do with Activision Blizzard, we'd love to hear it. As always, we really appreciate you listening. If you could do us a favor and leave us a rating or review wherever you do choose to listen, that would also be greatly appreciated. And just be sure to share this podcast with a friend and help the podcast grow. Other than that, we will talk to you next week.